Would you look at this shirt? They call this The Floral Awakens. This is a bus pass, and that's what I want to talk about. So let's get to it. Welcome back, friends. It is Monday. I am dressed fabulously. It's the Monday Microdose. Thank you for spending just a little bit of your Monday with me. So it's the tale of two bus rides today. When you're involved in advocacy, which I was for a while, and I guess, arguably I still am, one of the things, it's not just about bicycling. It's about what they call multimodal transportation. So that includes walking, pedestrians. And it also includes mass transit. And that can be buses, it can be light rail, you name it. And I never really spent much time riding the bus. You own a business, you're on you can be on a pretty tight schedule. And it just didn't factor in. And Indianapolis is a bit of an odd situation in that, the town is pretty spread out. And then I think at least as much, if not more than most other cities, it's very car-centric. It's the home of the Indianapolis 500. Everybody believes that they're either an IndyCar driver or a NASCAR driver. And, So mass transit is something that isn't really front of mind. But as I got involved with one of the local advocacy organizations and I was riding my bike to work and I started getting more interested in mass transit and, perhaps on occasion trying to work that into my commute. But before I get to that, I was in Minneapolis a handful of years ago for a dealer event and in February. And as I was flying into Minneapolis, it occurred to me that Gorin Brothers had a store there, or at least I thought they did. And thanks to free Wi-Fi on the plane, I figured out that, yes, they actually did. And I thought, I've got some time this afternoon after I land. I'll try to find the store and maybe pick up a hat or two. So I got checked into the hotel and I went down to the concierge and I said, hey, this is where I'm trying to go. Can I get a taxi? And he said, well, you can, but why don't you just take the bus? And I thought to myself, I haven't been on the bus probably since I was 12 or, going to high school swim meets. And he saw the coming objection and he goes, look, it's going to cost you probably $20 or $30 to take a taxi both ways. He goes, the bus is $1.75. It's right around the corner. And they're running all the time. And so I said, okay, I'll give it a try. And he wasn't lying. They ran those buses back to back to back. And I think had I missed a bus, I would have only had to wait 5 or 10 minutes for the next bus. So I get on the bus and I give him the money and he prints me a ticket. And then I said, this is where I'm trying to go. And he goes, well, the street in question is right up the road. I'll let you know before we get there. Great. So, I'm on the bus a couple minutes, 5, 10 maybe. And the bus driver turns and he says, where was it that you were trying to go again? And I told him and he goes, oh, well, you don't want to get off at this next stop. He goes, that's right, like a block and a half from the transit center. That's the end of this line. He goes, you just want to stay on it until we stop at the transit center. It's going to be a block and a half down the road. And as long as you're not in there for more than an hour, you turn around, give the bus driver the same ticket. They'll take you right back where you started. That was a perfect experience for taking the bus. You had a driver that was engaged. He was paying attention. He was eager to help. If you want people to use mass transit, I mean, that's a big component of it, is it not? So flash forward to just a couple days ago. Now, I bought this 10-trip bus pass probably a year ago. It may have been more, COVID time and all. And the idea was that I was going to try to go 30 days without using my car, which sounds great in theory, until you start looking at the bus schedules here in Indianapolis. And it just, a 15 or 20 minute trip by car is going to take me probably an hour and a half or more, depending on, when the buses are running. So unlike Minneapolis, if I miss a bus, I'm going to have to wait an hour for the next bus. Strike one. But I needed to get the Big Easy tucked back in here at the shop. I didn't want to leave it in the cold garage all winter long. And the easiest way to transport that thing is just to ride it. And thankfully, we've had a spate of 70-degree days here in November. So I got on the bike, rode it to the shop, met a customer for an appointment, and then was going to hop on the bus, which stops right across the street from the store. And I was going to ride the bus home. And the bus drops me off about a mile from the house, and I'll walk home. Sounds great. The problem is I don't really know how to use this. I mean, I understand that there's probably a slot somewhere where it goes in, which it does, and then it prints out on the back the number of trips that you've taken. So I don't know whether this driver didn't like his job, which, it's understandable. Was having a bad day. Everything was exacerbated by the fact that we both had masks on, and he was behind a, 4 foot by 4 foot salad bar sneeze guard. And what I was trying to get through to him is, where do I put this, and how do I put this? And his response was, "You're putting it in upside down." And I was like, well, okay. So, I flipped it around, and then apparently it was backwards. And he could not have been any less interested or willing to help. And that's not what you want. If you really want people to use mass transit, people that have other options, but maybe don't know the particulars, right, of how to do it. Would I have wanted to suggest to someone that they maybe take the bus and then have them have that experience as their first time on the bus? No. Over and above that, the trip was fine. The bus was clean. There were 6 or 8 people on the bus. And it took, I think because it was the middle of the day, we weren't really in any kind of rush hour situation. It took me about the same amount of time to get home as it would have if I had ridden a bike. Taking, setting aside the 50 minutes that I waited for the next bus to show up. So what's my point to all this? I don't know. I don't know. I guess I just wish that it was better. And I think, obviously, in some places it is. Places where, they've either made it less friendly to drive, or whether in places like Chicago or DC where it's just, it's not an option. Here in the heartland, I think we've got some learning to do. It's an important piece, I think, of any city. You have to have a fast, easy, convenient, not terribly expensive way to get around town. And I think it's certainly something that here in Indianapolis, anyway, we could do much better. What are your experiences like? Do you use mass transit? What's the experience like? Let me know. I wish I could say that this temperature was going to continue, but I'm going to have to move to warmer climes for something like that. Thank you again for watching. I really appreciate it. Picked up a lot of subscribers here in the last couple weeks, and it means the world. It really does, that you guys enjoy these videos. I will continue to try to keep making them and try to make them more interesting. Subscribe, like, comment, share. And until next time, be nice, work hard, ride bikes, play music when you can. Take the bus maybe. Or maybe not. I'll talk to you soon.